Two more funerals were held just in the past several hours for those young victims of the shooting rampage in Newtown. James Mattioli and Jessica Ricos. 6 of Newtown's 7 schools also reopened today, all of them except for Sandy Hook, which may never reopen. And we're getting new details about when the guns used in the massacre were obtained. Now, law enforcement sources tell NBC News all of the weapons were obtained legally by Adam Lanza's mother. One of the guns was bought as recently as last January. And one private equity firm is now selling its stake in the company that makes the Bushmaster rifle, which was used in Friday's massacre. Cerebus Capital Management said it will abandon its investment in Freedom Group, writing in a statement, quote, "It is apparent that the Sandy Hook tragedy was a watershed event that has raised the national debate on gun control to an unprecedented level." Dick's Sporting Goods also released a statement saying, quote, "During this time of national mourning, we've removed all guns from sale and from display in our stores nearest Newtown and suspended the sale of modern sporting rifles in all of our store chain." George Zornick writes for The Nation. He joins me now from Washington. George, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
In your piece, you also mentioned Walmart, and they've released a statement saying they never sold the Bushmaster online, and they've not made any change to, I guess, their procedure and what weapons they choose to sell in their stores. But let me ask you first about this Wall Street. It was referred to as a titan deciding that this was a watershed moment, and they don't want money that comes from the sale of guns.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that came from good investor pressure. There was a big teachers' pension fund out in California which was heavily invested with this private equity firm, and they threatened to, reconsider, quote unquote, their investment. So I think that's something that you'll see a lot of in coming days, because there still are weapons manufacturers owned by private equity firms. And so the more that investors bring this pressure to bear, I think you'll see more actions like the one that was taken today.
And it's interesting, a lot of people may not know this Bushmaster, for example, will run you between $800 and $900 depending on the model. They're sold at about 1,700 stores. You've got Dick's Sporting Goods at least saying for now they're taking these guns. We don't know if that means permanently. They say suspended. As I pointed out, Walmart says it has not taken any action. You and I both know that people wonder if these are PR moves in the case of those who temporarily stop selling these weapons, or if this is a larger statement by some of these retailers.
Sure. I mean, they themselves admit that it's temporary, and I think a lot of it is so that when there's coverage like this, they can say, well, we don't sell these guns, or we're not selling them right now. But I have little doubt that these things will return, and it's interesting. Walmart's move is interesting because it's true they never sold the gun online, but they sell it in about half of their stores nationwide. They are the biggest weapons seller in the country, and so for them to admit that they're still carrying this Bushmaster AR-15 rifle on their shelves next to cheap sweaters and toys and whatever else they sell, I think is pretty disturbing.
What do you make, though, again, when you see some of these, if these stores are bowing to public pressure? You will have some gun advocates who say or point to this as, this is exactly what I'm talking about. They're trying to, take away my right. And through these, liberals in the East, or whatever the description is these days of someone who does not want an assault rifle to be sold, as you pointed out, next to a sweater, this will, though, be seen as a cave-in and at the expense of those who believe that it is their right to own such a weapon.
Sure, but I think that's a conversation that most gun advocates, certainly the ones that I've talked to, are willing to have. Walmart is not afraid to not sell products that it finds socially unacceptable. For example, they wouldn't sell a Kanye West CD 2 years ago when it came out because it had what they considered an offensive image. And to this day, Walmart still will not sell any CD that has that black and white parental advisory on the cover. So they won't sell those things, but they will sell weapons, including those like the one used in the Connecticut shooting that can fire up to a bullet per second. So, if there is going to be a conversation about what is and is not appropriate to sell, I think that's something that if Walmart's willing to have it, gun advocates would be willing to have it as well.
George, thank you for your time, and people should certainly check out what you've written and certainly educate themselves on what's going on. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Cameron.